I now call the Carroll County Board of Commissioners May 7th, 2024 meeting to order. At this time, I'll ask for the clerk, Linda Bingham, to do the roll call.
Chairman Morgan.
Here.
Vice Chairman Fuller.
Here.
Commissioner McClendon.
Here.
Commissioner Lee.
Here.
Commissioner Chance.
Here.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Here.
Commissioner Bailey.
Here.
At this time, I'll ask Commissioner Fuller if he'll lead us in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay, before we do that, we're going to celebrate Memorial Day at the end of this month. So I'd like to share a little story with you that has a lot to do with Memorial Day. I wear a bracelet on my left arm. This is an MIA bracelet, and it's for Martin Masucci. On October 1st, 1965, an F-4 Phantom II, call sign Gator 3, with 2 crew members participated in a flight of 3 aircraft on a strike and armed road reconnaissance mission against the Ban Tang staging area on Route 155 in North Vietnam. Near the target, the flight encountered anti-aircraft fire, and one of the other air crews noticed that Gator 3 was on fire and warned the crew to bail out. The other 2 aircraft in the flight saw one parachute leave Gator 3 and land, and there's a ground coordinate here, before the aircraft crashed into the side of Suong Mountain in the vicinity of another ground coordinate here. The flight circled the crash site for 10 minutes, but could not establish radio communication with either of the crew members of Gator 3. Subsequent search and rescue teams saw no signs that any crew members survived the crash. Lieutenant Masucci was the pilot of that aircraft, and his remains have never been recovered. If you would join me in prayer. As Memorial Day approaches, let us not forget those who have died in service to this country. We pray for all members of the military and for the families who watch their sons and daughters go into harm's way. May we honor and care for those left behind after tragedy occurs. Give them strength and strengthen our commitment to caring for those who mourn their loss. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time, I'll ask for a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented.
Make a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor? Any opposed?
Motion carries 7-0.
At this time, I'll ask for a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the work session of March 28, 2024, the special call meeting minutes from March 28, 2024, the executive session meetings from March 28, 2024, our meeting minutes from April 9th, 2024, and our budget work session from April 23rd, 2024.
Motion to approve items 6.1 through 6.5.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed?
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, at this time we have the fun part of our whole meeting. We have several special presentations tonight. We'll start with the Carrollton debate team. If y'all want to come forward. And I'm going to ask Commissioner McClendon to read your proclamation.
Carroll County, Georgia Proclamation. Carrollton High School Debate Team 2024 GFCA State Debate Champions. Whereas the Carrollton High School Debate Team for the 4th consecutive year has demonstrated superior skill in the presentation of logic and pervasiveness by winning the 2024 State Debate Championship, marking the 14th State Debate Championship win and also the 2nd most state championships in the school's history, surpassed only by boys track. And whereas the Carrollton High School state champion debate team includes members Audrey Browning, Zoe Bush, Alan T. Hawkins, James Hauser, Andrew Johnson, Kieran Kelly, Eden Long, Will Robertson, Wright Ronick, and Luke Zimmer. And whereas the Carrollton High School state champion debate team is superbly coached by the experienced and resourceful head coach Richard Bracknell and assistant coach Lindsay Oliver. And whereas by their dedication, talent, and hard work, the team and coaches of the Carrollton High School state championship debate team have brought honor and recognition to the school, city, and county. Now, therefore, in honor and appreciation of the superior performances and outstanding achievements of the Carrollton High School debate team and the dedication and support of their coaches and parents, the Carroll County Board of Commissioners does hereby congratulate and commend the 2024 Carrollton High School State Champion Debate Team for their exceptional competitive spirit. In witness thereof, Michelle Morgan, Chairman of the Carroll County Board of Commissioners, have hereunto set her hand and caused the seal of Carroll County, Georgia, to be affixed to this proclamation on this 7th day of May, 2024. Congratulations, guys. And just let me say real quick, I was a part of the track team.
Okay, I had 3 kids on debate, 2 won. Who's smarter?
It doesn't matter. We got more numbers across that board.
Get in the middle, Tommy. We give you a special. Right there.
You know what, you might, yeah, you know what, I might come over there, yeah. We could push this back. Right, can you see them from right there, buddy? I'm going to ask Commissioner McClendon again to do our second proclamation for Delta Sigma Theta Sorority. So ladies, if you want to come forward.
Whereas Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated was founded on January 13, 1913 by 22 collegiate women of Howard University, Washington, D.C. And whereas Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated is a private nonprofit organization whose primary focus is public service to the local community, and the major programs of the sorority are based on the organization's 5-point thrust programs: economic development, educational development, international awareness and involvement, physical and mental health, and political awareness and involvement. And whereas the Douglas County, Paulding County's alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated was chartered on April 22nd, 2007, by 74 charter members whose work parallels the work of the Grand Chapter. And whereas the Douglas Carroll Paulding County's alumni chapter is a sisterhood of college-educated, progressive, and committed women who stand as a beacon of light, providing public service support to improve the quality of life for citizens of Douglas, Carroll, and Paulding counties. And whereas the Douglas Carroll Paulding County's alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, which now has over 348 members, has provided scholarships for graduating seniors in Douglas, Carroll, and Paulding counties for the past 17 years. And whereas the Douglas Carroll Paulding County's alumni chapter mentors the young ladies and young men in their youth initiatives programs, Delta Academy, Delta Gyms, and EMBODI. And whereas this year the Douglas Carroll Paulding County's alumni chapter will celebrate 17 years of continued public service, serving as a beacon of light in our communities, remembering the past, embracing the present, and sustaining the future. Now, therefore, Michelle Morgan, Chairman of the Carroll County Board of Commissioners, does hereby proclaim April 22nd, 2024, Douglas Carroll Paulding County's alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated Day. In witness thereof, Michelle Morgan hereunto set her hand and caused the seal of Carroll County, Georgia, to be affixed to this proclamation on May 7th, 2024.
Great. For our next presentation, I'm going to call everybody's favorite sheriff, Sheriff Terry Langley, to the podium, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you for allowing us to have just a few minutes to come by. And first of all, let me say that I want to say thank you to this board. What y'all have done for the county employees and what you've done for the office of the sheriff is just tremendous. And it's showing big dividends. Today, I know many of you know, just about a year and a half ago or 2 years ago or less, we had about 15 openings in the jail. It was hard to hire people. We had about 10 openings on patrol. Since then, several things have happened, and today I'm happy to report we are practically full in all positions. We got in law enforcement, we got about 3 positions that coming out of the academy, but we're full in the jail, and by all practicality, we're full also on patrol. And I just wanted to thank y'all first and foremost for the support you've given me as sheriff and you've given the office of the sheriff. It could not have happened starting with that foundation. The raises, the retention checks, the bonuses, just the encouragement that you all have put in not only public safety but in the employees of the county is tremendous. Also, I want to point out an individual, Michael Claypool, one of our deputies, right there. Stand up. He's looking pretty today. I want him to stand up. I met him one afternoon at the gas pump. Now, he's been with us about a year, and he came from Florida up here to be a deputy sheriff and worked on patrol. And he was talking to me, and he was concerned about hiring and some other things, and he had some great ideas, and so we just made him a recruiting officer. And since then, he has done a great job in streamlining our applications. We've done some rebranding, his ideas. You may have seen our new car. We took some seized drug money and bought a car and decorated it up strictly for recruiting purposes. He's also encouraged other deputies by word of mouth to get people to come try Carroll County and work at the Carroll County Sheriff's Office. He's done a tremendous job, and I want to thank him as well and give him a round of applause. The group we have with us here today is an outstanding group of employees that's been hired just recently. I've heard the numbers, 16 to 18 people that's helped us. I mean, good quality people that some of them are already out doing a fantastic job. Some from other agencies, some that are just in law enforcement, some that's starting in the jail, but they're going to go to law enforcement. And we're so thankful to have them, and it's a result of your all's encouragement, funding, and prayers, and just being friends to us at the Office of the Sheriff. Deputy Claypool, and also the best chief deputy in the state of Georgia, Brad Robinson, has played a huge role in this as well. And Major Craig Dotson, we got Captain Price here, and I know we got others here but we just got a great thing going on. And I know so many times I come up here, not really complaining, but in a need. And we still want a few things, but I'm up here today to just say thank you. It's paid big dividends. You've invested in the Carroll County employees, and at the Office of the Sheriff, it's made a huge difference. And I just wanted you to see all of these new employees and maybe get to know them. And I think the Office of the Sheriff has a great future ahead because of who we've hired. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Ask all of y'all to come forward.
I think I'm going to stay behind.
I'm going to move this out of the way.
It's their day.
You ain't nervous, are you?
Kinda.
He's a new hire too. He's been here a year. Get up there. Smile. I know you're not used to it. Smile.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. great Saturday. It was great. So thank you very much for having us over there. Next time she wants permission to just drive on around, let me know. All right, we'll get you one. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, let's get out of here. Thank you. You're welcome. Good to see you.
And yeah, we had to be fully staffed almost.
Yeah. We got three of them. Y'all said tonight? Oh, no, well, maybe not. Nope, they don't. Different.
We get to pick which one we want. Oh. All right.
Hold us back in our seats.
They heard me.
Wow.
We'll now move into the public comment section. Public comments are an opportunity for the public to address the commission with any issues or concerns they may have. All remarks should be directed to the chairman and not to individual commissioners, staff, or citizens in attendance. Members of the public shall not make inappropriate or offensive comments. Any members of the public, any individual who violates the rules of decorum may be removed from the meeting. At this time, the board will not comment, nor will the board take any action on these comments. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. We had a sign-up list in back. I don't have any names, so I'll ask at this point if there's anyone here that wants to speak during the public comments. I'll ask a second time if there's anyone here that wants to speak in public comments. Well, seeing and hearing none, we'll move on to our zoning session. I'm going to call Ben Skipper, Director of Community Development. Is our applicant here at this time?
No, Madam Chairman, he is not, so he's asked me to step in for him.
Okay, great. So I'll go ahead and say if the applicant or anyone wants to speak in favor, they have 10 minutes. Anyone opposed has 10 minutes. And then if we have to, we can go into another 5 and another 10. With a total of 10 minutes, not per person, but per opinion. So I'll turn it over to you now. 9.1, the rezoning request for 43 Wilton Smith Road.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, Board of Commissioners. We have an application Z240401, rezoning request from commercial to residential to build a residential home at 43 Wilton Smith Road. Tax parcel ID number is 123-0103. Land lot 169 of the 6th District. The owner is Jacob Smith and Joseph Perkins. This is in Commission District 3. Staff recommend approval. There was no opposition at the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission recommended approval unanimously 7-0. If there's any questions, tell you a little bit about it. It's a single dead-end dirt road that somehow or another made it commercial on the zoning map. We don't know if it was a zoning error or it predated Pete's time, and he's been here 25 years. So out of an abundance of caution, we asked him to come forward with a rezoning because we didn't feel like it would be that contentious. Any questions?
Well, let me ask first, is there anyone here to speak in favor? Okay, well, seeing and hearing none, is there anyone to speak against this application? Well, seeing and hearing none, I'll then open it up to questions or comments from the board. Well, seeing and hearing none, I'll look for a motion and a second.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Is there any further discussion or questions? Well, seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed?
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you. Thank
We'll
you.
now move into the consent agenda. Items under this action were discussed at the public work session that we had last Thursday, May the 2nd, now available for view on our county website. These will be presented as one vote, and only one motion and 1 second is needed. So 10.1 is Project Safe Neighborhood. 10.2 is the Sheriff's Office equipment purchase. 10.3 is an RFP for build out of the 5th floor of the courthouse. 10.4 is a resolution approving the change order number 2, phase 1, release and subcontractor recommendation, and improving the total budget for the new county administration facility at 423 College Street. 10.5, roofing for the parks. I'll look for a motion and a second.
I need to recuse myself on the item of the fifth floor.
Thank you for reminding me.
I make a motion to approve the items as presented.
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed?
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. We'll now move into the business session. This is 11.1 is a road abandonment of Old Four Notch Road. At this time, I'm going to open it up for a public hearing. Avery, how long do I need just to ask if anyone's here in favor or against this rezoning?
It'd be the same 10 minutes on each side, like code zoning.
So at this time, if there's anyone here that would like to speak in favor of this, you have a total of 10 minutes. Anyone that would like to speak against it has a total of 10 minutes, and then we can move into a 5-minute rebuttal on each side. So at this time, is there anyone here to speak in favor of this road abandonment part of Old Four Notch Road? Well, seeing and hearing none, is there anyone here to speak against the road abandonment part of Old Four Notch Road? Well, seeing and hearing none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. I'll look for a motion and a second, or I guess, Danny, would you like to speak on this, or you, Danny Yates, our Public Works Director?
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago when I came to y'all with this is an old section of dirt road that when the road was paved, it did not get paved, and it went unused. It growed up, people dumped trash in it and all, so the county just basically closed it off, but it's still showing as a county road, and we just want to get that off our road register.
Okay. Are there any questions for Danny? Well, seeing and hearing none, I'll look for a motion and a second to approve the road abandonment.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Again, I'll ask if there's any questions or concerns. All right, all those in favor? Any opposed?
Thank you.
Motion carries 7-0.
I'm now going to call Avery Jackson, the county attorney, for 11.2, consideration of updates and changes to the county enabling legislation for cost of living increases.
Chairman and Commissioners, we talked at the work session a little bit about how the county's enabling legislation was enacted in 1989, and there are amounts and figures in that enabling legislation that haven't been updated in what's over 30 years. So, and that has led to issues because the state has since adopted legislation that affects increases to those amounts that may not coincide with and sometimes conflicts with the language in our enabling legislation and some of our other local acts. And that creates gray areas in how certain amounts are calculated for increases in inflation or cost of living. And that has led to particular issues, especially lately with the state of Georgia increasing cost of living for certain amounts, county officials' salaries and pay in a dollar amount rather than a percentage as they had the previous 20 years. So again, that has led to issues with how you calculate the amounts under our enabling legislation. And the way that some of the language is currently written, you can have multiple people calculate the amounts in multiple different ways. And it's led to confusion for the staff as to what assumptions to make and how to make certain calculations. And staff's had to go to outside county auditors to ask them to help us create a spreadsheet to come up with calculations for these. So you have spreadsheets and all these complicated calculations that go back numbers of years just so we can come up with a current amount. We ran this, well, the auditor who was helping us develop these spreadsheets said, y'all really need to look at updating your local legislation because why are you going back so far making these calculations and having to compare what an outdated enabling legislation language with current state law where those don't coincide with each other, and there's conflicting information. So we took that to ACCG, and ACCG General's Counsel said, well, it looks like Carroll County's having the same struggles as we're having implementing the state law across all counties for those officials that ACCG looks at. And ACCG gives guidance on those particular officials that their salary guide information applies to, but each county has their own enabling legislation. Some have been updated along the way. Ours has not been updated, and so they don't give particular guidance on ours other than the ACCG General Counsel stating that, hey, it looks like y'all need to update your local legislation, and you just missed the last legislative session, but you might want to get it in for the next one. And so we started looking at updating these amounts and numbers and figures in the enabling legislation. So instead of a spreadsheet that calculates 30 years of information, we'll have a current 2024 number that incorporates these cost of living or inflationary numbers for previous years. So that's what we've kind of looked at and done and what we've proposed. As a summary, you all have kind of what the original enabling legislation has for certain numbers and figures, what the current amounts that are being paid with inflation and cost of living, the CPI index for going back to '89, bringing those numbers current to 2024 numbers, and a proposal based off those CPI figures to, again, bring those figures in the legislation up from those 1989 numbers to current numbers, just based on the cost of living or CPI. This is not market adjustments at all or anything like that. It's just bringing it up based on those cost of living and inflationary figures. It may be that going forward, the county needs to look at other officials and market adjustments, but other county officials, the state updates their legislation. They're set by general laws, and so the state periodically updates those, and so a lot of those other county officials have been updated in the last 4 or 5 years, and again, ours hasn't been updated since '89. So to match what the other county officials, what the state has done for the other county officials, and to match kind of ACCG's salary guidance for elected officials, staff's proposing the 2 resolutions before you. Again, one that adjusts the spending limit for the county chairman from the 12.5 figure based on CPI to a current number, one that adjusts the chairman's pay again from the 1989 number to a current 2024 number, one that adjusts the district commissioner's pay from a 1989 number to a current number, and then one that adjusts the coroner's pay. The coroner is also set by local legislation. That legislation was updated 3 or 4 times in the 80s, in early 90s, but hasn't been updated since either, which has led to, again, complications in calculating the coroner's pay. So to make it easy on staff when staff is having to recalculate these every year based on ACCG's guidance, having these updated numbers will greatly decrease the complexity of those calculations. So as I mentioned, the 2 resolutions are before you, and what the resolutions are is a request by the Board of Commissioners for our local delegation to present these to the General Assembly to update the enabling legislation and the legislation creating the coroner's office for Carroll County.
I'll ask for a motion in a second, and then we'll have discussion if necessary and questions.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, and there's a motion to approve, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. So now I'll ask, are there any questions for Avery or any comments?
I'd like to thank Mr. Jackson, and I know as he stated, the auditor and several staff members, different ones have tried to look at this, and I appreciate the work that y'all have done on this. I think something that's very important to clarify is this is not a market adjustment. This is simply just trying to look at it from a CPI index to bring some numbers up to par. So for instance, the 12.5 that the chairman has the ability to buy a single commodity item up to that amount, moving up to 35,000. If that was a market adjustment, that'd probably be 75 or 100,000 at an $80 million budget. So that's probably definitely needed, but in the same note, that's just moving up by a much smaller number at a CPI index than an actual market rate. And as you stated before, a lot of the verbiage in here, the old verbiage, had stuff that you had to calculate by whatever percentage. If we had done something at a cost of living for the employees, that was done with a dollar amount that was in confliction, obviously. So there was a lot of, for me, just looking at this, just a lot of verbiage update outside of the CPI index as well. So thank you for the work that you all put into this.
And just to piggyback on that is kind of an example, as Commissioner Chance mentioned, the 12.5 figure was put in there in 1989 so that the chairman could buy a pickup truck. That was the intent and purpose. Of course, the chairman can't buy a pickup truck today with $12,500, and we're proposing to increase that based on CPI to $35,000, and you can't buy a pickup truck for that today either. Again, it'd be more like $60,000 for an average cost of a pickup truck. But again, these were not market adjustments. This is purely just looking at CPI index and increasing those over time based on what the Bureau of Labor and Statistics had said inflation has increased during that time. So it's not specific to any office or department or spending amount. It's just updating the numbers by inflation over time.
I'd just like to say I appreciate your efforts. I appreciate the interest and efforts of all of my fellow commissioners, because it seems like when things are brought like this to our attention, we work together and we do take action. This is an example of county legislation that has not been updated, just like the rock quarry situation that prior administrations did not tackle, and it resulted in a debacle that we swiftly moved to change and remedy. So kudos to each of my fellow commissioners in taking that action, and to you, Avery, thanks. I know you have been inundated with a lot of questions and have done a lot of research with, as you mentioned, ACCG and our auditor and so forth. So thanks to all the effort. This was not an easy fix, but I think it is a thorough fix.
And I'll say it's not just me, it's been a lot of the county staff. I know Finance Director Alicia Searcy has spent a lot of time on this. Ann Lee, the HR Director, has spent a tremendous amount of time on this as well. And we hope that in the future that this will simplify it so that these department heads aren't spending their time running these extensive calculations every year, and they can quickly do what they need to do every year and then attend to their other duties.
If there's no other comments, we do have a motion and a second, so I'll ask all those in favor. Any opposed?
Motion carries 7-0.
Great, thank you, Avery. 11.3, the natural gas suppliers. I'm going to call Alicia Searcy, the Finance Director, forward to discuss this with us.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. We have for your consideration a proposal for natural gas suppliers. We're asking for you to authorize the chairman to negotiate and sign the agreement with the suppliers. We did do an RFP on this. We had two vendors that responded to it. We had True Natural Gas, who we currently buy our gas from, and we had Walton Gas. There are two sets of rates. One is a fixed rate for 1 year, one is a fixed rate for 2 years. The current vendor came in at 40 cents a therm on a 1-year fix and 45 cents a therm on a 2-year fix. We are recommending that we go with Walton Gas, who came in at 35.7 cents per therm on a 1 year and 39.6 per therm on a 2 year. I would also recommend that we go with the 2 year program. Our current price per therm is 68.3 cents, so this is considerably lower. And I went and looked back prior to the current contract, and we were at about 40 cents a therm. So I feel like locking in right now is probably a pretty good time to do it for a 2 year period.
I'll look for a motion and a second, and then we'll move into discussion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Clint, I think you had some questions.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chairman. Ms. Cersei, just the numbers look good, and thank you for, I think we did this a couple of years ago, and we were looking at locking in some rates for a couple different years because everything was going up so high. My only question is, we wouldn't have any reason to believe that the company that we haven't been using that we're recommending going with, we don't have any concerns that they wouldn't be able to service our account. That would be my only thing. You don't have any indication that that would be a problem. They wouldn't be able to handle our commodity.
I don't think so. I mean, they're a reseller. Both of these companies are resellers. Both of them utilize Atlanta Gaslight delivery system. And Walton Gas has been around for quite some time, so I feel like they'll be capable of providing what we need.
Thank you.
Well, if there's no further questions or comments, all those in favor? Any opposed?
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, 11.4 is the FY year 2024-2025 Carroll County budget. This is just a notice to the Commission of the advertisement of the proposed budget and the public hearing. So again, to meet the timeline of the June 4th, 2024 on the proposed budget according to the county's enabling legislation, I am to publish the proposed budget along with the public notices required in OCGA 36-81(5) in the legal organ of the Carroll County in an advertisement which must run by Tuesday, May 9th, 2024 to allow for a public hearing on June 4th, 2024. Therefore, I as chairman and to follow the county enabling legislation am submitting to the board not later than the regular May meeting the estimated revenue for the upcoming year and a proposed balanced budget governing the expenditures of all funds expected to be available to the county for the upcoming year. I am also including the proposed expenditures for capital outlay and public works. The finance director and I have reviewed the information relating to the financial affairs of the county, which is relevant to establishing the annual budget, and we did this at the budget work session here at the historic courthouse on April 23rd, 2024. And it is available for review for the commissioners again and for the citizen on the county's website under the video section. There is no action to be taken on this item at this time. We will vote on it at the June meeting. No further business. I'm going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Second to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments, questions, concerns? All those in favor? All those opposed? All right, we are